Hello, beautiful souls. Rebecca Joe here. In this video, I want to share with you whew, a story, I guess. You could call it a story, but a transformation, an activation, if you will. Been receiving a lot of questions regarding my journey into working with the dragons. And I believe that is because we are stepping into the year of the dragon, and a lot of people are getting curious about them and beginning to ask questions. So I just want to create this video to share with you my journey into awakening my dragon heart and what that experience has been for me, because I think it will give you tools and understanding for what may be happening in your life if you are also in resonance with the dragons, or they have been visiting you or coming into your meditations and into your awareness. So for me, the working with the dragons has been an accelerated awakening. I don't think there's any other way to really put it so direct, but it's been an accelerated process. And there's been a lot of testing. I think that when working with the dragons, they are such pure and loving beings who are devoted to Gaia, to Mother Earth, that when they come into your awareness, it's like they are really wanting to know if you're willing to do the work and you're willing to work with them in a way that will honor your own path, as well as be in reverence to who they are and what they stand for and what they can do in support of humanity's evolving in consciousness. And so there's a lot of testing that comes along. They're also very playful, but for me, my journey, which I will share more about in detail in an upcoming episode in my podcast, but it's really been a journey of them supporting me to reclaim who I am at a soul level, to reclaim the power that I hold within me, the wisdom, the deep, deep wisdom. Even today in meditation, I was having these recollections of writing on scrolls. It was a language that I didn't recognize. It was like, I don't know if it was Chinese or Japanese. I don't know what it was, but it was like an Oriental language. And because I keep getting this desire to write, and I've been asking, where does that come from? So it's really about remembering, and not only that, but a really big return to my heart. And I think there's a lot of lingo, and there's a lot of false information out there around the heart and what the heart represents and what the heart is here for. And heart-centered entrepreneurs are not always heart-centered, or if they, stay heart-centered. Being heart-centered it's deep, and it goes to the depths of our beings. And that's really what they have asked of me to do over these past 2 years, is to go within the depths of myself and to work through shadows and look into the deepest parts of my being and shine light on those and allow what comes forward to propel me forward and to alchemize within me, within my being, what needs to be changed, what needs to be transformed, and changing that into something that I go, wow, that's a tool, that's a power, that's an element, that's something that I can put into my toolbox and then support humanity in receiving this medicine. But it took me to literal go through that painstaking process that they guided me through. And so I say painstaking, I say hard, all of these things, because again, it was this testing, this, am I willing to go there? Am I really willing to do the work that is required for me to then stand side by side with them and serve humanity? And about 9 months ago, the words dragon activator dropped in for me when I was doing some soul searching. And I really rejected that because I felt like these were these words that were so powerful that I felt like, oh my gosh, if I use these words, am I really embodying them? And the answer was no. Like, that was my honest to God truth, was no, I was not. And so I've been very diligent in soul searching and doing the work. And last week, I kept getting the repeated message, it's time, it's time, it's time. And I kept asking, for what? It's time for what? Like, what is it time for? I've done everything that's been asked of me. I've, trudged through the mud, and I've learned and I've grown and I've evolved and I've expanded. And it was to bring her forth. And I said, who is her? It was the dragon activator. So I had to sit with that for several days, but I also knew that if they were telling me that it was time, that they were fully supporting me and I was ready. And there was fear that came up just even in that recognition of, oh, I'm ready. But am I really ready? Right? So I've gone through that process and I've claimed this part of me that is the dragon activator. So what does that mean? Doesn't mean that I'm out there activating dragons. They get to do that all on their own. They are in control of their destiny. But as I begin working with the grids more deeply, I'm recognizing that my energy, my frequency, my heart is connected to these new earth grids, and that is actually supportive and sending healing to the grid lines that the dragons are also working with. So there's this side-by-side activation that is happening while working with the dragons to clear and heal and rebuild these grid lines. And then there's the activating of others to the remembrance of the dragons and really bringing the remembrance of them back into the hearts and minds of those that I interact with. There's been so many beautiful souls that I've worked with over the past few years that have really just kind of propelled them onto their journey once there was this recollection. So it's like my frequency does that. And then the ones that I get to work with on a one-on-one basis or in some of my containers have received a full activation of their dragon heart and to their mission and to their soul purpose. And that has been the most rewarding, but recognizing that it's not me, that I am just the mouthpiece, that I'm the frequency, that I'm the boots on the ground for the dragons to send these activations through. And it's all for Gaia. It's all for Mother Earth, and it's all for humanity. It has nothing to do with, praise and accolades. And I'm not here to be like, rah, rah, the dragon activator. That's actually why I'm actually up in the corner of this video, because I don't want it to be about my face and, who I am, but rather about them and their support for humanity. And so, I'm just remembering that the love for Gaia runs so, so deep. And that's what I've been called to do in the past years. And it's about now taking what I've learned in the deep recesses of my heart and what I've learned by working with the dragons. And I say with because it's not like I'm doing something or they're doing it. It's a mutual partnership that we've created that has oftentimes frightened me and scared me, but it's also pushed me, and it's placed people on my path to support that evolution, and then also brought people to cross paths with me that I've been able to then support them through their own remembrance. And so I remember one of my mentors telling me that there's no book that can teach you about connecting with the dragons and what they're here to do with you. And I remember being really frightened about that because I love to read, I love knowledge, I love research. And, I had to go through the process myself. There was no fast process. There was no cheat sheet. There was no, what are the words I'm trying to find? There was no way around it. It was only through. So now I know that I'm meant to serve with them. And I am now stepping more fully into this dragon activator energy. And really, it's about easing the suffering. That's the message that they've been giving to me over and over and over again, is to ease the suffering. And I'll be sharing more about how I do that and what the work that they are doing or asking me to do with others, even through ancient modalities, that they're showing me ways to use them in the modern world, and easing suffering and supporting humanity. And so I look forward to connecting with you each individually. If this has resonated with you, please feel free to leave a comment. I would love to connect with you. I would love to answer any questions that you might have. And if you're ready to really dive in and work with the dragons, they're ready to work with you. And I hope that this message has been supportive. If you resonate with this, please feel free to subscribe to my channel, as I will be bringing more information from the dragons, as they will not let me not share about them anymore. So thank you. My last message is: be fearless in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. And for me, that is the dragons.